Hartzler's high-profile objection to the bill, which passed the House following assent from the Senate and is now set for Joe Biden's signature, prompted her own nephew to speak out against her in a TikTok video that has been seen more than 200,000 times. In the video, Andrew Hartzler said his aunt was crying because gay people like me can get married. He added, "So despite coming out to my aunt this past February, I guess she's still just as much as a homophobe." Vicky Hartzler said the legislation was misguided and dangerous, as it would threaten religious institutions opposed to marriage equality. The tenor of the bill was, "Submit to our ideology or be silenced," the Congresswoman claimed in her House speech. Her nephew pointed out that religious schools still receive federal funding even if they discriminate against LGBTQ students. The 23-year-old has said he was reported for homosexual activity when attending Oral Roberts University, an evangelical private college in Oklahoma, and is part of a federal class action lawsuit against the U.S. Department of Education for funding such institutions. The new legislation does not alter conditions for such funding, and churches, mosques, synagogues, and other houses of worship will not be required to perform LGBTQ marriages if it goes against their beliefs. It's more like you want the power to force your religious beliefs onto everyone else, and because you don't have that power, you feel like you're being silenced, Andrew Hartzler said to his aunt on his video. But you're not. You're just going to have to learn to coexist with all of us. And I'm sure it's not that hard. Andrew Hartzler told BuzzFeed he isn't close to his aunt, who is considered one of the most anti-gay members of Congress, and that his relationship with his conservative, religious parents has also become strained. "It was weird to me that she was crying. I would say that," he said. "I don't think that was a performance. Knowing my aunt, I think those were genuine tears. I do feel compelled to speak out when I see this just to counter these messages. I don't want my last name to be associated with hate. I want it to be associated with love." Vicky Hartzler is just the latest Republican politician to be publicly criticized by close members of their family. In October, Adam Laxalt, a Republican candidate for a closely run Senate seat in Nevada, was faced with 14 members of his family endorsing his opponent, the incumbent Democrat, Catherine Cortez Masto. Laxalt went on to lose. In 2018, 6 of Republican Paul Gosar's siblings backed his Democratic opponent in midterm elections for the far-right politician's House of Representative district in Arizona. Gosar prevailed despite the familial acrimony.
Three killed in explosion at flats in Jersey. At least 3 people have died after an explosion at a block of flats in Jersey. About a dozen people are missing after the collapse of the building in St. Helier. 2 people who were in hospital earlier have been released, and 1 other person is receiving treatment. Chief of Police Robin Smith said searches at the site would continue throughout the night. He said it was a scene of complete devastation at Pier Road. Mr. Smith said there are a number of working hypotheses as to what happened, but warned people not to speculate. He added, "Thankfully these circumstances are very rare, but nevertheless they are of deep concern to communities." The blast happened at about 4 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time on Saturday. Chief Fire Officer Paul Brown said, "The plan is we will continue searching. Teams will be working all night and they will not stop." He added, "The primary challenge is the fact that we have a dangerous structure that has collapsed. Anything that we do, or do in the wrong way, may then jeopardize the chance of survival of anyone who might be rescued." Witnesses have spoken of the ground being shaken by the force of the explosion. He said, "Everything shook, my windows were shaking, the whole room shook. You could feel the shockwave through your bedroom almost. In the moment you think, what was that? Jersey's gas supplier, Island Energy, said it was working with the fire service to understand what happened. It was earlier confirmed the fire service had attended the scene on Friday night after the smell of gas was reported. The chief fire officer was asked if the call on Friday had anything to do with the cause of the explosion. Mr. Brown said, "I will give you an answer to that, but what I'd like to do for the moment is focus on the emergency response, talk to my colleagues and consider those bits that are subject to investigation and make sure I don't tell you something that I need to tell someone else first." The three-story building which has collapsed is owned by Andium Homes, which is a state-owned but independent company that rents out properties. It said it was focusing on supporting residents at the estate. The government of Jersey said specialist teams from the UK had arrived to support local crews in the search for survivors. The Southwest Hazardous Area Response Team has arrived on the island, alongside an urban search and rescue team from Hampshire and Isle of Wight Fire and Rescue Service. A Chinook helicopter, typically used for military operations, was due to bring specialist equipment to the island, the government said. Chief Minister Christina Moore said it was an unimaginable tragedy. She said residents displaced by the blast were being found somewhere to stay. "This is going to take some days and we will keep everyone updated and fully informed, and we will do our very best to ensure everybody is properly looked after," Ms. Moore added. The town church opened on Saturday evening for islanders to light candles and pay respects to those who had died. Justice Secretary and Deputy Prime Minister Dominic Raab tweeted he was deeply saddened by the news. "I commend the work of the emergency services responding, and we stand ready to support in any way we can," he said. The incident comes days after 3 fishermen were reported missing following a collision at sea on Thursday. Ms. Moore said, "We must call on the collective strength of the island community."
Elon Musk. I love leaks. Also, I'll sue if you leak. While Elon Musk and his Twitter files are exposing the inner workings of the social media company's previous regime, the self-proclaimed chief twit is taking steps to ensure he never gets Twitter files during his own reign. Platformer managing editor Zoe Schiffer reported Saturday that Musk sent out an email warning the company's remaining employees about leaking confidential information and threatening to potentially sue those who violated the non-disclose agreements. As evidenced by the many detailed leaks of confidential Twitter information, a few people at our company continue to act in a manner contrary to the company's interests and in violation of their NDA, Musk's email stated. This will be said only once. If you clearly and deliberately violate the NDA that you signed when you joined, you accept liability to the full extent of the law and Twitter will immediately seek damages. Employees were given until 5 p.m. to sign the NDAs. The warning is in marked contrast to Musk's stance as a free speech absolutist, who has frequently tweeted like-minded catchphrases like "sunlight is the best disinfectant" and "transparency is the key to trust," yet doesn't share those same beliefs when it comes to his own tenure at Twitter. Fittingly, the email was leaked to Schiffer, who also shared a link to the Tech Worker Handbook to inform them of their rights. Musk, meanwhile, riled up the right Friday night with a Twitter files drop about Twitter's decision to ban Donald Trump amid the January 6th riot at the Capitol. Musk, however, hasn't been as forthcoming about his own rationale for banning users. After suspending Kanye West for posting an image of a swastika, Musk reinstated the Twitter accounts of white supremacists and neo-Nazis despite their previous removal from the platform. This also isn't the first time a Musk-led company has flexed the power of an NDA. In 2021, Tesla drivers who tested a beta version of the automaker's full self-driving technology were asked to sign NDAs to prevent information critical of the software from reaching both the media and the public. How Brittany Griner's plight exposes the hypocrisy of America's carceral state. Trump bashes Jewish leaders for not being loyal after his dinner with Holocaust deniers. Snoop Dogg and Master P are big mad they are being forced to rename Snoop Loops cereal. Do remember that there are a lot of people who want Tesla to fail, the NDA within the early access program stated. Don't let them mischaracterize your feedback and media posts. The NDAs drew the ire of the U.S. National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, which relies on reports from consumers as an important source of information in evaluating potential safety defects, as the agency noted in a letter to Tesla. Any agreement that may prevent or dissuade participants in the early access beta release program from reporting safety concerns to NHTSA is unacceptable. Moreover, even limitations on sharing certain information publicly adversely impacts NHTSA's ability to obtain information relevant to safety, the letter stated.